I'm going to go and start with Aaron's point, saying that insurance is reliable and it is affordable. He talked about Quick Care. If you pay $10.95 a month for basic coverage, $28.95 for accidents and stuff. Yeah, that isn't a significant cost, but the way that pet insurance works is that you pay these costs, you also have to pay a deductible on whatever treatment that you have, and they're not going to pay every single cost that comes. You only have a certain allowance of funds that you were allowed to charge to pet insurance. They're not going to pay for every single expensive treatment that comes along. For $10.95 a month, which is about, what, $120 a year. $120 a year isn't a good exchange for $2,000 surgeries reoccurring. They also talked about people should get insurance. That less than 3% of pet owners have insurance, but I mean, if they're still not covering all that significant amount of money, I mean, that number isn't going to rise. They're saying you should consider your income. That's a fault on the pet owners. We can't really change that. See, low-cost clinics are, yes, there are some low-cost clinics such as NAWS that they talk about, but as I stated before, 80% of veterinarians practice in private practice, so that only leaves 20% that practice in nonprofit clinics. So that isn't significant enough to take care of everybody nationwide. There are only so many nonprofit clinics. There are more profit private clinics. He also said that 9 out of 10 vets recommend VPI insurance and that they cover common problems, but actually have a chart here from VPI that says some of the coverage that they cover, and one of the sub-centers they have on that chart is that treatment costs vary on a case-by-case basis. Dollar amounts reflect average initial claim fees submitted to VPI and are not intended to suggest typical reimbursements. And they reflect average national veterinary fees or account for ongoing fees associated with a particular condition. And the way VPI works is depending on how much you pay per month, they won't cover a lot of different costs. They only cover maybe $2,000, maybe $3,000, as I stated before. With the one lady from Michigan, they only covered $2,000 on her $4,000. They're also saying that our plan would circulate costs away from veterinary care, but that's what we want to do because veterinary care is the most essential cost. I mean, if we have we talked about what a 50% tax, that would be, say, for a $50 bag of food, it would only cost you $57, and I'm sure people would rather pay $7 more as opposed to thousands of dollars in vet care. And they were talking about alternative pet food, but again, that's a problem on the owner. I mean, if you're feeding your dog grapes and chocolate, that's not a good idea anyway. Veterinarians don't recommend that. Neither do pet food places. Pet food places don't put grapes and chocolate in their food. Yes, pet care is expensive. They kept saying more about insurance. More people should buy insurance. But as I stated before, insurance doesn't cover all of these different costs. And then you wanted to say that back then veterinary medicine was not needed. I don't think that's true. I mean, if the dog had a broken leg then, it needed to be repaired. If the dog has a broken leg now, it still needs to be repaired. And he was talking about there are advantages in new technology, but new technology costs money. And that's reflected in the prices that you have to pay when you go to the veterinary clinic.